And then using your roller, if that works for you, you're gonna stack up on top of your hips. If you're doing our osteo variation, it's about time to change sides. And then non-osteo, let's roll down one more time, just playing around with the shoulder blades. I'm squeezing them in the sockets, then lengthening, going down another vertebrae or two, multitasking, really using my core. And then I'm gonna inchworm up the same way. It's kind of neat and interesting just to add these little variations in there. Okay, guys, you can put the foam rollers to the side. If you're doing the osteo stretch, one more breath on that side, and then let's all come to standing together. Okay, let's start our chin knots, getting the weight of our heads back over our spines. Good. And then pressing into the heels, thinking into our back body here a bit. Poor posture, neck forward is so much about overthinking what's going on in front of us. To really anchor into our heels. If it feels right to you, close your eyes, feel that heaviness. And then let's go into rib cage arms. So I'm lifting my head, hands overhead, and a nice big inhale, exhale on down. And my goal here for you is not to flare the ribs and to work those abs going up and down, just working that stable torso. Start to think into the bottom of your shoulder blades, activating those muscles to lift your arms overhead. And then pause with the arms overhead and shrug the shoulders here. Again, shrugging them from the bottom of the shoulder blades, noticing what kind of neck tension is participating, name it to tame it. Moving your head, yes and no, maybe, seeing if that helps with the neck tension. Good, and then we're gonna move on into a side bend. So anchor into this opposite foot from where you're reaching. So if you're reaching right, you're pressing into the left leg. Soft knee, maybe soft hip and ankle, and then a really big inhale into this side of your body. Awesome. Slowly come through middle, find that core activation, and then we'll stretch over to side two here. Now anchor into that opposite foot, gets you a little more stretch. And always in these side bends, to reach, not to collapse on that bottom side. Your lumbar spine won't like that collapse. Okay, let's come through middle. And now the breathing pattern is going to be inhale through middle, exhale, pulse twice. Yeah. And just keep thinking about that lateral plane as if you're pressing against a tile wall or a pane of glass, that you can't drift your head forward, you can't twist forward. This is one that I recommend doing in the shower and using that tile wall and really getting as much lateral stretch as you can in a safe way. One more to each side. Exhale, pulse twice. Inhale through middle. Exhale, pulse twice. Good. Okay, from here, let's work on our feet a bit more. So that inversion and eversion, you guys are pretty used to these. Paige, what we do is my hands were feet. We take the inside arch, lift that up, and then rock to lift the outside ridge. Back and forth. Good. And we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Think into your feet. Are they cold? Are they stiff today? Are they just feeling remote down there? Start to send some blood flow and intention. And then we'll do 4 tires. So you press into that first and second toe, pinky toe, outside of the heel, inside of the heel, and around. Again, it's like you have roller skates on and you're pressing into that first and second toe, then pinky toe, outside of the heel, inside of the heel, and around. Great. Find a good spot to pause and then reverse. Again, thinking of getting your feet kind of squishy and warm and loose and not so remote from your brain. Good. Last one. And then check that your feet haven't scooted out sideways. Let's bring them back to hip bone distance apart, and we'll take it into calf raises. As always with calf raises, if you need to hold on to a chair or a wall, please do. It's easygoing Sunday morning work here. As you lift those heels, exhale, pull navel to spine, and then work those muscles in the back of your legs, calves, hamstrings, glutes. As you lay your heels down, lengthen your foot out. Maybe feeling some stretch in those bottom of the foot muscles. And we'll go 4 and 3, 2, and then 1. One last foot piece here. Lift the balls of your feet one at a time, not just the toes, the whole ball of the foot. Keep the heel down, left, right, right, left. And then notice if you can feel the muscles at the front of your shins working. That's what we want. And then look up. Do the exercise with your head over your spine. Make sure you can find your balance there. Great. Okay, feeling pretty good after that rolling work and that warm-up work. Couple more upper body pieces. Let's go into translation very carefully. For those of us with L4, L5 issues, you're gonna lift and reach, not condense and reach. See if you can find those obliques to help you out. And then if it is painful, your job is to stay within a range of motion that's pain-free, establishing your boundaries for the day. Good. Okay, and then hands come on top of shoulders here. We're gonna reach forward with those elbows and then open on up behind us. It's a half circle up and over by the ears, back and forth. Osteoporosis, you'll stay here. Non-osteo, you can add on some back flexion and extension here. Inhale as you go forward, but pull navel to spine. Exhale as you reach back, really pull navel to spine there. So it's your flexion and back extension, and then shoulder blade mobility. And we'll go 3 and 2. Good, and 1 more. Okay, and then twisting, which again, it's a cold morning. I want you to be safe here for it to feel yummy, so don't take it too big. You're gonna use a lot of core. Hopefully you can feel that connection into your obliques. It's our usual breathing pattern of inhale through middle, exhale, pulse twice. Okay. 2 more sets. Getting those abs all warmed up so that we can do some stretching and just stay safe in our spines. Good. Okay. From here, let's get comfortable and ready to go on the floor. Again, always having that 9-inch ball or some sort of cushion nearby is helpful. A TheraBand for when we do stretches. And then, as always, our foam roller because it's Sundays. Let me know if anything is off with the tech at any point. And then, of course, as you guys have questions, unmute and ask. Come on, camera, stay put. There we go. Okay, so let's just lie on back. If there's any particular prop, say a towel underneath your lumbar spine that makes these sessions awesome, add all those pieces in, okay? And if something doesn't feel great, you know, you can always ask me and we can help you get that adjustment going from home. I'm gonna have you stretch your arms down towards your feet. Try and activate the muscles at the bottom of the shoulder blades, slide those shoulder blades down. And let's do those reaches on an exhale and tighten up the core. So it's as if we're about to do an upper ab curl, but not quite there yet. And keep going. Exhale, reach down, inhale, relax. And then think about the top of your shoulders into your neck. Are those guys stretching? They're called the upper trapezius and the levator scapula. 2 more. Good. And last one. Let's lay the palms down, elbows to, you'll press into forearms and elbows and lift the hips into a stability bridge. Okay, in your stability bridge, I want you just lifting and lowering as one piece. When you're in the bridge, you're weight bearing on shoulder blades. Inhale, lower, landing in your neutral spine. Check your core is still on and that the front ribs have not flared. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Make any adjustments like bringing your feet closer into your bum. And then squeeze the ball as you go up, get some inner thighs working. Inhale down, keeping those ribs nice and together in front, like when we did our rib cage arms standing. 3 more, exhale up, inhale down, 2 more. Feeling that corset muscle really activate and tighten around your center. This is your last one, back line of the legs. Now pause in that bridge, stretch the back of your neck out one more time, and then take your hips left to right. These are typewriters. If these bother your back, you can do a pelvic curl here instead. Okay, and we're going 4 and 3. I know typewriters we all love to hate, but there's so much usefulness in mastering them. And last one, good. Go ahead and lower. When you land, make sure your thoracic spine has come with you, which is behind the ribs. And let's hug knees to chest. You can put the ball to the side here. As you hug knees to chest, let's lengthen and stretch out that low back. As you hug knees to chest, try and loosen the hip flexors in front here. Bring the knees together and let's stir the knees. Seeing how much you can lengthen the low back with gentleness and get those hip flexors just to relax. Take a breath and then reverse the direction you're circling, and we'll go 4, 3, hollow navel to spine as you circle those knees around. Last one. All right, now let's open the knees up and then circle the knees in opposite directions. You can be tilting the pelvis up as you do these, assisting with that low back stretch. Reverse, still circling in opposite directions. Last one, good. All right, 2 choices here. It depends on how deflated your squishy ball is. You can put the ball between your knees, or if it's pretty squished, you can put it under your low back and pelvis here. And we're gonna go into our pelvic curl and clock series. So we start with the pelvic curl, bringing the pelvis towards the nose. Think lengthen out the low back, not shorten. And then either back to neutral, or if you know your body and you know going into some extension here and exaggerated low back curve is cathartic and safe, go to that point. And we're just gonna go between your 2 safe points of pelvic curl, either neutral or low back arch. Always ask me questions about this. It's really good for your practice and it's so individual. Okay, and then pause, 1 hip bone towards the ceiling, 1 towards the floor, and then we'll switch. I like it when everyone's in a slight pelvic curl as they lift 1 hip bone towards the ceiling, 1 towards the floor. I firmly believe this helps you use the abdominals to manipulate the pelvic position versus the quadratus lumborum. I woke up on the anatomy side of the bed today, naming all but the muscles. Okay, and then changing that right to left emphasis, 1 hip bone towards ribs, 1 towards foot, and then switch. So this is your hip hiking. This is your moment to be Jennifer Lopez or Ricky Martin and seeing if you can really nail it, getting those obliques to activate and bring a hip bone up without clenching in the low back. So it's a bit of mastering muscle choices. Good. Okay, and then let's take it into pelvic curls. It's Sunday morning. Let's go extra slow. Let's marinate in this. Again, if you like having the ball underneath you, go for it. If you rather not bother with that, no problem. I think the ball is more of a challenge to hit all those numbers on your pelvic clock. And a good way to think of this exercise is having a round dinner plate on your lower stomach and you're rolling a marble around it. Okay, and then we're going to reverse directions. So if you were going clockwise, counterclockwise, vice versa. And 1 more. Noticing where things have gone well today, where they're stiff, if it feels different because you're using the prop or not. Okay. And then if you've been using the prop under your tailbone, go ahead and remove it. And then we're going to go into some of our tabletop work. Tabletop. So you could rest a tray on your shins, think 90-degree angle between thighs and torso, and then hands on your lower stomach here. And let's get those low abs fired up to stabilize the lumbar spine and the pelvis. So your toe taps here. All the while we're working on that lumbo-pelvic stability. So you don't want much movement in the low back, the low body here, except the legs. And we're gonna go 9. Exhale up, 8, 7. And I have you put hands on lower stomach. So I want you to feel that activation and tension under the fingers. As you get more skillful, the muscles should pull into the body, not brace out. You'll get deeper layers of abdominals when you pull the navel inward. It's not an aesthetics issue, it's a muscle activation issue. All right, and 2, and 1, and then bring those knees together, and we're gonna open our arms out to sides of the room and go into spine twist. So carefully bring your knees and feet right and left. Not going too big. Some of you are really flexible. This is about your strong range of motion. This is about spine twist, not how far out can you bring your feet. Okay, use your obliques here. Stop your knees and feet with your abs, drag them back to middle. Good. 2 more sets, right and left. Last one. Good. Okay, and then 2 choices here. We're going to do ab curls. If you have osteoporosis, you'll do this one I'm going to demo now. Knit the fingertips together and press them into your right thigh. You can send out your left leg as long as your low back doesn't activate and move, and really press into that right thigh. Pull navel to spine and then switch to the left thigh. So don't be too passive about this one. You really have to master that muscle activation and going abs on. Inhale through middle, abs on. Non-osteo, you guys are welcome to do the head piece here. Head and shoulders lift because you're activating those upper abdominals. All right, let's go 10, 9, 8. This is the osteo version. 6, and 5, careful the low back isn't moving in either version. 2, and 1. All right, one more hugging of knees to chest. Osteoporosis, you'll play around here, hugging knees to chest. Non-osteo, let's turn this into rolling like a ball. So holding behind your low thighs, and then you rock and roll until you can come to upright here. Again, not an exercise for osteo, a little back massage for non-osteo. Okay, one more roll, only to shoulder blades, not to neck. Good. And let's grab our foam rollers. This is one of the hardest parts of class. Just want you to be able to get on nice and safe. Good time to make sure you don't have any cups of coffee that are going to get knocked over. So always with the foam roller piece, I want the back of your head resting on the roller as well as your tailbone. If you're somewhere different today and you didn't have a roller, you could always take several towels and then just roll them up into a narrow column and you'll be able to get at the work. Okay, so how does it feel to be on the roller today? What pieces of your spine feel like they're already connecting into that roller? Do you feel symmetric on it? Do you have maybe a spasm or a tight muscle on right or left that's making you feel asymmetric? Again, just name it to tame it. And it is what it is, and it's good to identify it. Let's start with it, just 4 pelvic curls here, feeling that low back now. Press into the roller, abs on in front. Ooh, look at the stability that adds. All right, 2 more times. Plant into your heels. Good. And then let's do that arch and curl off the roller behind the rib cage. If you haven't done it with me before, it's going to feel kind of weird. And the reason I do this is so that you can feel when those ribs puff off the roller. That's always what you want to catch yourself doing in Pilates, and then correct it and bring the back of your ribs and your spine onto that roller. Try it one more time, and then pause with the back of the ribs pressed against that roller, and then knit together the bottom front ribs even more. You can use your hands to feel how activated those upper abdominals are. And let's bring our arms up to the ceiling, okay? We're gonna reach right up, left comes to meet it, right slides down, left slides down. Switch it up, left reaches first, right comes to meet it. Is your core on? Is it keeping you stable on that roller? Left shoulder blade and arm slide down, right shoulder blade and arm slide down. So continue with that choreography, reaching one arm up at a time, switching who leads, and make it a core exercise so you really feel those abs in front activate. And then thinking into that back body again, as arm bones slide down, slide that shoulder blade down like you're trying to put it in the back pocket of your pants. Let's do 2 more sets. Right leads up, left comes to meet it. Right slides down, left slides down. One more, left slides up, right slides up, left slides down, right slides down. Okay, and then you can just toggle back and forth. Make sure your spine's been comfortable on that roller. Then we'll repeat that, but we're gonna do both hands at the same time. Both hands reach to the ceiling, activate that core, don't let the ribs flare off the roller, and then squeeze that roller between the shoulder blades without letting those front ribs pop up. Inhale, reach up, exhale, squeeze that roller between the shoulder blades, okay? 7, squeeze, 6, squeeze, 5, squeeze, 4, squeeze, 3, squeeze, 2, and then 1. Now let's squeeze that roller and pulse in those squeezes. Let's strengthen that back body, and we'll go 8, squeeze, 7, 6, 5, keep breathing, 2, and 1. All right, and then bring your arms low and the palms facing the ceiling. See if your elbows can touch the floor. If they're not touching the floor here, it probably means you're really quite tight in your pecs, in your chest. And I would have you adjust by putting towels underneath the elbows here, maybe for the rest of the exercise. We want to keep you safe and not overstretch you in the shoulders and ribs there. Okay, let's bring hands up to the ceiling and then up over towards your ears. This is just your rib cage arms. Now exhale, bring the hands down to hips. Inhale up and over, don't let those ribs flare. Exhale down, rib cage arms, guys. Just try not to let the ribs flare as you reach the arms overhead. I don't want to encounter any shoulder drama here. So if you need to modify, say bring arms wider, that's an excellent modification. Or if you pause before you hit that shoulder blade pain, another great modification. Okay, 2 more. And I'm trying to pack a lot in this hour today, so we're going kind of quick. Let's go into a nervy arm stretch. So we flare our fingers. We've got a lot of wrist bend there. And then those fingertips lead to the sides of the room. Pause when you feel that nerve tingle in your wrist or forearms. And then switch the way your fingertips are pointing. So they point in, bring the arms in. Okay, let's go 7, point in, point the fingers out for 6. Again, don't let that rib cage flare off the mat. Really work those upper abdominals. And then just be proud of yourself that you're developing all this muscle control, that you can activate different parts of your core on demand. One more. Okay, and then chicken wings. So chicken wings is that combo of nervy arm stretch, circles, and rib cage arms. You're going to inhale, lift arms overhead. Layer the fingers, check your space that you can circle, start circling. Arms are about 4 inches off the floor. Pause and bend elbows if it gets nervy. And then swing those palms around to thighs. Inhale up and over, flare the fingers, circle till it's nervy, pause there, bend the elbows, circle arms around. Let's go 4 more. And if this is new to you, just be careful you don't drop your arms to the floor because that will be too much stretch. Just enjoy these circles. Awesome. All right, last one. You guys are doing great. It's Sunday morning and you're taking care of your body so nicely. All right, and then let's do just a bit of balance work and let's have some fun with this one. We'll play. If you bobble on your roller or even fall off, just laugh. All right, I'm gonna have you bring the right leg up into tabletop and then press the elbows and palms into the floor. They're pretty close in here. I'm gonna move over now that I've done the circling. Hopefully, let me know if you guys can't see anything well enough. Okay, and then palms face the floor or the ceiling, however you can open up your chest and feel nice and balanced here. All right, and then you're gonna lift up that left palm. Left elbow still on the mat. If this is enough balance challenge for you, stay here. If you're ready for more, lift the elbow and then bring that left palm over to the right inside knee. Okay, you're gonna activate the core quite a bit here. Really press that left palm into the right knee, abs on so you don't fall off the roller. Good, and then relax a minute. Okay, now the two appendages left on the floor, the left heel and the right palm, really press those guys into the mat as if you're about to do a one-legged bridge. And you can try one of those one-legged bridges if that helps you, okay? And now we're gonna return to the limbs in the air. Press those two guys in the air. It's the two on the ground, press into the ground. So lots going on. Now reach that left hand and right leg away. Every time they come back together, press that left palm into the right knee. Good, reach away. Keep pressing those two limbs on the floor into the floor. Good, and we're going 4 and 3. Feeling pretty awesome that we're following all this right to left on a Sunday morning Zoom call. Last one. Good job, guys. Okay, and then both palms come down to the floor. Turn those low abs on as you lower the right leg. I don't want to tweak any low backs. All right, make any adjustments you need to on the roller. And then let's go find humble pie on that other diagonal. Press both palms into the floor. Lift up that left knee into tabletop. Find your balance on the roller, okay? And then lift up that right palm. If you have balance there, now lift up that right elbow, okay? And then you're gonna press that right palm to the inside of the left knee. That piece is important. Don't press the top of the knee, but the inside. And you're looking for that oblique sling from the right armpit to the left hip pocket. Good. Now the two limbs on the floor, that left palm and right knee, you can bridge into them. I just really want them active and pressing into the floor. Okay, and then resting the back on the roller. And now we're gonna reach the limbs in the air away from each other. When they come back together, you really press that palm to the inside of the knee. You get some ab work there, you get some balance challenge. As you press that palm into the knee, the two limbs on the floor are still pressing into the floor. And then you're gonna check for me. Have you curled your shoulders forward? Have you let your ribs off the roller? Make any corrections you can. And we're going 2 more. And last one. Okay, leave that left knee in the air. Bring both palms down to the floor, press them into the floor. Activate those scapula muscles. Squeeze them down to your back pockets. Then with care for your low back, you're gonna bring up right knee. So both knees are up in tabletop. You guys are rocking this balance thing. Good. All right, you're gonna think into what is my easier diagonal to move? If you don't remember, just choose right leg, left palm, okay? And then you're gonna start lifting that palm up. So I'm lifting my left palm up. Maybe you're successful at lifting the left elbow. If you're there, then you can start playing around with moving that left palm and right knee a bit. Try not to slump into the right arm. It's just there to balance you, but not to bear all your weight. Good, and have some fun here. If you bobble and wiggle, just reset. It's a game. Last one on that diagonal. Okay, check that your pelvis is neutral or imprinted and those abs are still on. And we're gonna switch to your harder diagonal. So for me, that's right hand and left knee. Maybe you can bring that arm completely off the floor. And we'll go 4, abs on, 3, use that exhale to pull navel to spine, 2, good job, Pam. Yeah, Reggie, you could teach this. All right, and then let's bring those legs slowly down to the floor using a lot of low abs to protect the lumbar spine. Good. And then you're gonna come off your roller. And then lay on back. And bring the roller underneath your knees, feet flat on the mat. I'm gonna actually take my head and back up pretty high on my mat, so I've got some nice room below me here. And then, like I said, feet flat on the mat, bridge on up, and let's put the sacrum on the roller. Okay, and then just really sink into your own body, your own inner knowing. If at any point in this piece, this series, you're like, you know, my low back is just not liking this, come off the roller, okay? And then one leg at a time, bring your knees more into your chest, hollowing navel to spine. So notice in all these low back movements, I'm really trying to cue you supporting your low back with core. All right, and then you're gonna stretch your left leg out while keeping that pelvis imprinted. It's in the air while it's imprinted. If you can lengthen out that left leg, this is one of your hip flexor stretches here. This is a good way to read the newspaper or to watch TV if you have hip flexor issues. Hopefully, over time, that left heel can just drop to the floor, okay? If you're in need of more stretch, probably Julia and Reggie, you can play around where that foot hits the floor. But that's only for the very flexible. You want to make sure the pelvis is level. Okay, now bring that left knee into chest. Again, trying to have a level pelvis on that roller and stretch that right leg out. Keep tilting the pelvis under, not tucking, but tilting so you get that length in the vertebrae. And then see how this side compares. Usually one is more flexible. One side is more flexible, okay? Maybe you're flexible enough your heel comes down to the floor, but you're not gonna worry about it if not. All right, so one more long breath here. Really breathe into that right side. And then you can wrap your hands around your roller as you bring both feet, both the knees, more towards your chest. Always feel free to make adjustments on that roller. I want you to think imprinted even though you're airborne. And then let's do some inner thigh dynamic stretch work. So feet come up to the ceiling and then open and close to the sides of the room. And it's like, look, mom, no gravity. The whole time I want you to support by pulling navel to spine, taking nice big inhales, exhales, navel to spine. Good. If this was to bother your low back, remember you can come off the roller. You could also bend your knees and see if that helps loosen things up. Okay, now I'm gonna cross my right knee over my left. Doesn't really matter which side, but let's be consistent. Right knee over left. I like to hold on to the short ends of the roller here. It helps open up the chest. But just hold on to the roller wherever it's manageable. And then we're gonna windshield wiper side to side here. Windshield wiper left to right. It's real important not to arch the low back. I keep cueing that imprinted, okay? And then you can hold over to the left, and that might feel like a nice glute stretch on the right. One more breath there. And then rock those knees over to the right. And this might feel like a left IT band stretch. If you're searching for that IT band stretch, press the legs against each other. You may find it there. Good. And then come back to middle, adjust the roller if it has scooted away from you, reactivate those abs, and now cross the left knee over right. We're gonna windshield wiper again here, left and right, and we'll go 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Okay, now hold the knees to one side. If you're doing the same right to left as me and the knees are over to the left, this will probably feel like a right side IT band stretch. No biggie if it's not connecting. And then we're going to take those knees over to the right, and that might feel more like a left piriformis or glute stretch here. But we're doing several different systems at once. Core strengthening, fascia work by pressing in to the muscles and holding. Good. All right, and then bring those knees up towards the ceiling, feet up towards the ceiling. Reactivate the core here, and then with lots of care, 1 foot at a time, bring the feet down to the floor. Good. Okay, and then you can slide that roller out from your sacrum, and we're gonna slide the roller underneath our calves and take the calves left and right. Remember on our reformers, often in class, I would have us roll the calves out. That's what you're doing here. If you want to watch your feet, come up on your forearms, on your elbows here, but squeeze those shoulder blades down the spine, okay? You can even roll out the feet here again. It's some good coordination work. But the calves is usually what most of my students are interested in. And if you want more pressure, wrap one foot on top of the other, or one calf on top of the other. Remember, you go in and out, and you can go side to side. Good. In and out or side to side. You can do some kind of fun choreography with bending the knees to the side too. Okay, and then I always caution you, don't roll behind the knee. You can get close to the knee. Come sit up on your tush, maybe arms straight behind you. Again, don't roll out behind the knee, but close. I'm gonna skip the knees and then bring it to the hamstrings behind the thighs. And then I'm gonna lift my bottom up. Lift it up from the core here, and then it's quite a bit of weight bearing on the wrists, so make sure that agrees with your body. And then you can start sliding up and down here. And it might be holy hamstrings, it might be wonderful. Just if it's confrontational, make sure it's not too confrontational with your body. If you have osteoporosis, you're gonna work in your neutral spine, your flat back here. So careful not to roll and pick up, okay? If you want more pressure, you can wrap one leg on top of the other. I am feeling like we probably all need some IT band TLC. Depends on your definition of TLC. TLC might be a little harsh, but you can roll to one side like you're side planking here. Okay, osteoporosis, you're gonna think one line from nose through sternum, navel, center of the pubic bone, okay? And then you can roll up and down, nice deep breaths. It might be nervy. And if you find a knot and adhesion, you're gonna attempt to hold it there for 30 seconds, okay? So I am weight supporting with my top leg here. I want more pressure, so I've lifted that bottom foot up. So those are all little tricks you guys can do. You can rotate to take it more back into that hamstring complex, or you can rotate onto your stomach to get more into the quads. All of these pieces, you know, they wrap by each other. You want to break up the fascia and hydrate it when those tissues stick together. It's kind of like Velcro that you need to undo. Good, now let's IT band to your other side. So most of you might just end up turning away from me. I'm gonna just switch my orientation so I can keep watching the camera, but you don't need to do that. Good, and remember, we don't roll behind the knee. We can get close to it. And then we're looking to hydrate the tissues, break them up from sticking together. You can go all the way up into the hip if you find a spot. And again, if you find a muscle knot, see if you can hold the pressure there for 30 seconds, which is like 5 long breaths. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn us on to our stomachs. So you have the choices here of putting your feet on the floor, and that's less pressure. If you lift your feet up, that's a lot more pressure. Osteoporosis, you're still working your flat back here. It's very easy to go into lumbar spine extension, which is that back arch. I want you to avoid that. Okay, and then it's a bit of planking and walking back and forth on the hands to get into those quads here. Again, don't roll over the knee. Near the knee is okay, but not over it. And then you can roll up into the hip flexors. Pam K, you might really like that one. And then make sure you do both right and left there, guys. Okay, from here, when you're ready, come off the roller. Let's put it to the side. I could teach for 90 minutes today. There's so many more stretches on these cold mornings. So I'm going to quadruped and I'm going to do my sternum drops here. We're going to move fast. Sternum drops are just when we squeeze the shoulder blades together and press apart. Good, last couple. Hey, are your abs still on? If not, kick them back on. And then let's take it into cat. Big inhale when you're in cat. Osteoporosis, return to neutral. Non-osteo, you can go into cow. Again, into cat. Nice big inhales in our destination. Inhale in cat. Exhale through neutral. If you're non-osteo, go on to cow. Let's all inhale there. Squeeze those shoulder blades down, pull navel to spine. Good. All right, last one here with the cow. Then let's all go to neutral. This is new today. You're going to go into your cat and then bring your weight back over your feet. Yum. And then back on up over your hands. Keep on breathing in that cat. If something about it doesn't feel right, you can give this a try in neutral spine, back and forth here. It is good bone mass building though for the wrist and the forearms. Let's do 2 more. Inhales in that cat. Bring it back. Exhale as you come forward. 1 more. Good. Okay, and then from neutral spine, there's a reason my roller is over here to the left side of my body. Doesn't really matter if it's the left or the right, but it's the long ways, and we're gonna stretch out the bottom of the shoulder blades. I'm gonna thread my right arm under my body and put the side of my hand on my roller. I hope you guys can see. I see it's at the bottom of the screen. And then you guys know this one well. You're gonna reach into that right arm, bend the left elbow, and then really stretch through the bottom of the right side. You can squeeze your shoulder blades down the spine for more stretch. Do pull navel to spine. Big inhales into the right side of your body, or vice versa if you're stretching out the left. 1 more. Good. Slowly come out of it with care. And then we're going to bring that roller over to the second side. So now it's to the right of my body, and I'm going to bring that left arm underneath me onto the roller and go into my yummy stretches here. Bend that right elbow and twist through the torso here. Squeeze the shoulder blades down to play with placement. Good, and just keep breathing. Try and inhale really deep into your back body, particularly into the left side of your lungs. Last big breath here. Okay, and then from here, sit back onto your feet. Feel free to modify if your knees are not happy there, okay? We're just in rest pose, and walk your fingers away from your ears, so well overhead. Okay, I started cueing this last 2 weeks. Lift up your palms, so just fingertips in touch with the mat. Lift up the palms, feel that work in the shoulder blades and that yummy stretch. And then walk your fingers over to the right side of the mat. I always think of Thing from the Addams Family here, that hand that would walk around. Big inhale into the left side of your body. And then walk those hands through center over to the left side of your mat. Probably still have those palms up. And now a big inhale into the right side of your lungs. Good. Okay, and then we're going to go into our kneeling stretches. So walk those hands through middle, carefully come through quadruped, and then let's get your knees comfortable here. So you can pad them up. If you need to do these stretches standing, I'll watch on the monitor and I can cue those. Yeah, but it looks like everyone's cool with kneeling. I've brought my left foot forward first. Doesn't really matter to me, but you know, I'm calling out left and right cues. Okay, so let's check that the hip bones are level. See if you can find those bony landmarks of your hips, maybe even the iliac crest in the back here, very low, low back. And that those guys are the same height off the floor, neither is twisted right or forward. You can also accidentally tilt one under more than the other. So those are all pieces to catch. So let's tilt both sides of the pelvis under, reach that right arm up, and finding that right hip flexor stretch. Particularly osteoporosis, you're going to be careful not to arch the low back beyond neutral. And you can always hold on to something, especially with that left arm. You can hold it with a balance stick or just a good old piece of furniture. Good. On your next exhale, slightly side bend, reaching to the left. One more. And then rotate your rib cage so you're looking to the left side of your body here. The left side of your room, sorry. So rotating through the rib cage so you're able to look at the left side of your room. Good. Okay, and then you can drop the arms, take the rotation and side bend away, look straight forward, and now we're going to rotate rib cage so you're looking to your right. Left palm can press into the inside of the front knee. Good. And then think of creating some space here in the hip socket. That you have the choice to let that femur out a bit. Those of us with tight hip flexors, this is an important feeling to develop of when things can glide and then when they're overly jammed in the joint. Great. All right, now rotate so you're looking straight forward again. Stretch out that front left knee and bring the toes off the floor. Feel free to hold on to a piece of furniture so you don't have to go quite as far down. Osteoporosis, you're going to stay in your flat back here. Non-osteo, it's okay if you round into flexion. Good. If you want more stretch here, you're going to make a real effort to bend at the ankle. Really bring the toes towards your knee, and you can send your hips back a bit. This is someplace though that I would like to catch you if you're twisting the pelvis or one hip bone is higher than the other. Oof. Okay, and then turn those toes right and left, but the shift comes from rotating the femur in the hip socket here. A little nervy. Good. Okay, we're gonna take it to your other side here. So now the right foot will be in front. All those same pieces, that the pelvis is level, that you're developing the feel of when you twist. You may not be there today, but we're working on it. And you'll lift up that left arm, tilt the pelvis under, press into the right knee if you need more stretch. Good. Lengthen that spine as you stretch, but try not to arch. If anything, that pelvis is still tilted under for more hip flexor stretch. On your next exhale, start to side bend, reaching this left arm to the right. Big inhale into that left side of your body. And then rotate through the rib cage so you're looking to the right side of your room. In both that side bend and rotation, lengthening between the vertebrae. And then dropping the arms, kneeling up straight here. So no side bend, no rotation. And then we'll add on rotation so you're looking to the left side of your room. You can take that right palm, press it to the inside of the right knee for more stretch. So this is inner thigh on this forward leg. Just like the other side, think of creating some space here in the joint, that things aren't so tightly held together. If you're an overly loose person and that doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about that one. But most of us are too tight in the hip flexors. We sit too much. One more breath there. Okay, and then taking that rotation away, you now look straight forward, lengthen out your front leg, bring the toes off the floor, and finding that calf and hamstring stretch. An excellent time for a prop if your hands don't quite reach the floor. If you have osteoporosis, you're staying in a flat back here. Good. One more big breath here. All right, and then you're going to turn those toes right and left by rotating the femur in the hip socket. And we'll go 4, right and left, 3, right and left, 2, and 1. Okay, and then let's grab our TheraBands. I might go a little bit over today, so just to keep you guys mindful, time is an issue for you. But let's go through our right side IT band stretch. I also still have my tennis ball or spiky ball nearby. So that's an add-on I'll put in, but don't worry about it if you don't have that nearby. I don't want you stressing over that. So the band is around that right foot. I'm anchoring both sides of my hips into the mat, and then I let the right leg fall left. This is your IT band stretch. And I'm taking that tennis ball or spiky ball and massaging the lateral part of this right thigh. And actually it feels pretty good, better than it usually does, because we did all that foam rolling and other stretches. The usual flaw I see in this stretch in clients is that right hip bone is lifted off the mat. You need to anchor it as if somebody's pressing like the front side of your body down. And then just make sure you're not pinching anything in the groin. Last big breath into the right side of your body here. And then that right leg will go up to the ceiling. Check that you're not pulling through the neck. Lower it into the elbows and shoulder blades. Now let's go into figure 4, which means the left knee, the loose leg, comes in front of the right knee. This will stretch out your left glutes. And piriformis. If you need more stretch, you'll bend that right knee into tabletop. Bring the elbows to the floor, get that nice line of pull low in the body, not up in the neck. And you can always press away on that left knee, bring the right knee in, and that'll get you, woo, yowza, a lot of stretch. Try and keep the tailbone on the mat. Back is neutral or imprinted. One more breath here. Okay. And then we're going to thread the left foot into the band, take the right foot out. Keep the back of the hips on your mat as you let that left foot drape over to the right side of the room. Okay, and an add-on here would be rolling into that IT band. You could also just be massaging with the heel of your hand. Good. Roll, roll, roll. Big inhales into the left side of your lungs. And then migrate that left foot up towards the ceiling. And we'll go into one more glute stretch here. Right ankle, loose ankle in front of that left knee. Most of us will bend that left knee into tabletop. And we'll feel this stretch wrap around on our right backside, glute complex and piriformis. Keep your tailbone on the mat. Press out on the right knee if you need more stretch and bring that left knee in. Big inhales, pressing the back of your ribs more so into the mat. Again. Last big breath. And then you're gonna unpretzel here. Might be a good time to circle the knees a bit. And then you can put your TheraBand to the side. And let's return to seated in our Z sit. Z sit here. Doesn't matter to which side. If your knees don't tolerate this, you know you can straighten one or both legs. It's a good way you can modify. And then I brought the roller back. We're gonna do mermaid here. I'm gonna stretch on out. Nice big inhale as you squeeze these shoulder blades down. Rotate, make sure your lumbar spine is happy here. This is stretching out the quadratus lumborum. And then back to your lateral plane, sit tall and counter stretch. Going through this side 3 more times, enjoying the flow, setting the pace that you want. 2 more times. Big inhale when your side body is exposed. Exhale, pull navel to spine. Last time through on this side. Good. And then after that counter stretch, you'll switch the way your legs are Z sitting. Bring them to the other side of the room. If you need to modify and straighten one or both legs, no problem. And off into mermaid we go. Big inhale when you're nice and open in one side of your ribs. As you rotate, just be careful with that lumbar spine. Ask that QL to stretch, not to contract. And then out of rotation, sit tall and counter stretch. Good. Just noticing how sides are different. No big deal that they are different, just naming it. 4 times all the way through. This is number 3 for me. No problem if you're going a bit slower and more careful. And then before we get up off the floor, just a reminder that you guys could lay again on your rollers and just open the chest up, maybe put pillows underneath the elbows and really work on this piece getting longer, because that is so much of being able to control where the rib cage is and have that truly stacked up neutral spine. And I'm not one for taking 5 minutes in class just to hold that stretch, but I really believe in doing it a couple times a week. So after class or right now, or just another time, highly encourage that. Sensibly get up off the floor. If you have osteoporosis, it's time to practice that responsibility. And then if you have osteo, you're going to return to the stretch we started with and just see if you're able to touch your toes. Non-osteo, let's take our rollers and go into one more roll down. It's not a fun add-on. Pulling navel to spine, pausing at the bottom, seeing if you're closer to the floor. If you could touch the floor before, now does more of your hand touch the floor? Okay, and then being really responsible as you roll up, you're stacking up on top of your hips, pulling navel to spine. Ooh, feel free to do one more of those or 5 more. But thank you guys for joining me for a bit extra in class today and doing all that foot stuff at the beginning. Let me know if you need any extra stretches right now. Feel free to unmute.